It is Wednesday, the 26th day of February 2025, and welcome back to the show. Last week didn't happen because I'm still shit at managing time, and I'm also shit at sales. So I was preoccupied and fully booked last Wednesday. And it's frustrating, but it is what it is at this point. I can try to make adjustments, I can try to change, I can try to do this, I can try to do that. Uh and I'm trying. Believe me, I work very hard at being incredibly mediocre. You'd be surprised. But yeah, lots gone on. A handful of things that I'm going to sort of repeat. Because I like last week I did a little bit on Monday, a little bit on Tuesday, and I was planning to finish on Wednesday. Oh Jesus, and didn't. So some of those topics will be repeated, but I scrapped the whole thing. I'm like, all right, I don't want to. I don't want to use old material, if you will. Old bits, yes. Old material, no. And again, the number of times I've probably repeated stories and jokes and whatnot on this stupid show, probably numbers in the thousands because my memory is garbage. So, in other news, it's time for your if if you don't like my politics, you can change or fast forward like a minute, but I guarantee you this affects you. If you're listening to this show, it affects you. Now, this garbage administration is getting ready to push through a 2 trillion, that is trillion with a T, tax cut. Spare me the shit about government spending and waste and shit like that. The number of people that have already been fired for no reason is appalling to me, and it should be appalling to you because you're next. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. Okay, maybe not. That's a bit extreme, but with this tax cut, don't sit here and think that you're getting in on it because you're not. You're not. If you're listening to this, you're not getting in on that tax cut. There is a slim, slim, slim chance that you might fall into the first bracket of where tax cuts will be, felt or seen, right? And that's at households making 352,000 a year. So if you're over that, congratulations. I'm happy for you. And you're probably thrilled because you're going to be looking at roughly $1,200 in savings. Huge, just massive. However, if they have to pay for this. Now, how are they paying for it? Because we're looking at lost revenue and because of the amount of estate taxes that they're getting rid of. And again, they're cutting taxes for the wealthiest people. The people that have the most money, those are the people that are going to save. It doesn't make sense to me. It's never made sense to me. And it shouldn't make sense to you. And if you want to sit here and say shit like, well, they've earned it. Of course they have. But what's the old study that once you get over 400 grand a year in earnings, like your happiness doesn't drastically increase. I wish I had thought to pull that before I mentioned it, but it exists. It's a study. It exists. However, if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum and you're seeing where those cuts are coming from, aside from the tax cut, I should say, it's the $880 billion in what they consider to be waste. So if you have a parent in a nursing home on Medicaid, or your kids need Medicaid, or you know someone with kids who need Medicaid, you're fucked. If you or someone you know is on SNAP, you're fucked. If you have student loans, we're fucked. But keep licking those boots, you fucking assholes. If you want to find waste in government spending, it's easy. And quite frankly, it's admirable. But I mean, like pulling $7 million, $9 million from a children's science museum in South Dakota is not where you're going to find savings. It's all made up. It's all bullshit. Firing government employees. The number of park rangers in this country that are gone. For what? Those people make 40 to 50 grand a year. They're out there because they love being out there, but you're going to fire them for pennies. In the grand scheme of the United States budget, pennies. But what they're not going to do is, they're not going to, you know, they're not going to cut subsidies for oil and gas companies. They're not going to cut subsidies for defense contractors, and they're sure as fuck not going to cut subsidies for people like Elon fucking Musk, who makes about $8 million a day, some stupid number. But again, keep licking those boots. I'm sure they're thrilled to have you and your friends on your fucking knees servicing them every single fucking day while you let them get away with this shit. And if you don't think your state income tax isn't going to go up to try and you know deal with these cuts, you're a fucking fool. It's just amazing to me now that you've got so many people who fell for this shit, and if you see what Republican town halls all over the country, they're just filled with angry fucking morons, and they can all fuck off. And that's it. 5 minutes of politics. We're back. Enough of that. So, I'm going to talk a lot of sports today because that's what I want to talk about. I also have. So what are we doing? There's one note from the Super Bowl that I missed that I'm going to mention again. Sports in February, the Four Nations, West Ham, soccer, interior offensive line play, the Bruins, Celtics, all that good stuff. I also have 3 new voicemails from 3 different people. All 3 of my listeners have contributed. It's amazing. I might have movie trailer reviews, but I don't know. I got to figure out how to do that again. Some snack foods, some new music, and some truly petty 3 gripes. All of that and more on episode number 178 of Complaints and Observations.
Still, a voyage into the mundane and an exercise in futility. Swimming in the absurd while drowning in unearned self-importance. Entirely unworthy of your time. It is the world's worst podcast. This is Complaints and Observations with Dave LaPointe. Who the hell is Dave LaPointe?
I think he's a bum. I think he's an absolute bum.
All right. What's up? How are you? How's it going? Good? How you feeling? What's got you excited these days? Hope it's something good. Hope you're enjoying it. Yeah, a lot of sports I want to talk about. Lots of sports. Sports. You know what drives me nuts? People who don't like sports. No, that's not entirely true. I work with a lot of people who do not like sports. And it's, in my feeble, tiny little brain, it's like, what the fuck do you do all day? Oh, you watch television shows and movies. Eh. I get very little excitement out of that. And I'm an outlier, I know that. But I'm also an outlier in most other things, apparently, so it is what it is. But I hate when, like, they and this could have been a gripe, but it just popped into my head because yesterday I heard it, and it's like, all right, you're gonna like make fun of me for watching sports, yet you're gonna sit there for 15 minutes and talk about the ins and outs of White Lotus or it's not Inception. What's the Adam Scott show? I don't fucking know. One on Apple TV that everyone is creaming their pants about. I don't know. Maybe I should get into fiction a bit more, but I just don't find it. I don't. I get nothing from it but anxiety, and I don't need that. But anytime the topic of sports comes up, you hear them like, "Oh, sports ball." It's like sports ball. Like when you start talking about TV, do you think Do you see me standing up going like, "We the magic box" or "We TV"? No, shut the fuck up. Hmm. Assholes. Nah, not really. Anyways, so let's talk about what the biggest sports topic was over the course of the last couple weeks, and that's the Four Nations hockey exhibition tournament that took place. Done mainly to kind of restart the NHL players getting back into the Olympics in 2026, and it was kind of like almost like a rough draft, if you will. However, they picked four countries, and one of them was entirely outmatched, which is a shame. And it ended up being fine. Look, it was fine. But maybe I don't know. I don't consider myself a hockey purist. Maybe because I've never played the sport, so I don't know like the intimate ins and outs of it. And I'm sure I shouldn't say that. Like I know the game well because I've watched it my entire life, but I don't know it as well as others. So people that have played the sport and have said that this was exciting, great, fine. I I mean, it was okay. I could not really get as hyped about it as so many other people could. Like, yeah, sure, best on best. However, not really best on best because what are you playing for? You played for like an ugly little trophy and a fairly mediocre medal. The Olympics is a wholly different story because then you're going to be playing the entire planet. That's what counts. That's what people should get excited about. This thing was an exhibition, which, I guess technically the Olympics is too, but I don't know. And then the whole thing, like, oh, 3 fights to start the game. Those were slap and tickle battles. And then I'm just so fucking sick of the Kachucks. I am. I am so fucking over those two hardos. Like, I didn't like your father when he played because he was a fucking douchebag, and now he's spawned two other douchebags. If they played for my team, sure, fine, I'd like them, whatever. I just find zero endearing qualities about those two. Fucking Matt Kachuk chewing his fucking mouth guard. Like the same thing with Steph Curry. Steph Curry does the same thing. What do you have it for if you're not going to use it? Get a piece of gum, you fucking animal. Good players, don't care for them. And I would prefer if they just, shut the fuck up. And then, of course, par for the course, uh, in pool play, the U.S. beats Canada. But when it actually counts, they choke. They fucking choke. Because that's what U.S. hockey does, and that's what they've done for a very long time. Choke. Oh, but they've won. They've won the World Juniors 2 years in a row. All right, well then play the World Junior teams instead. Clearly, they don't choke. You've got a guy in net in Hellebuck who is world class. World-class goalie. Chokes like a dog. Against fucking Jordan Binnington, who is so rank average. Yet when he fucking steps foot in TD Garden, he becomes fucking Patrick Waugh. Unbelievable, this kid. If Don Sweeney had a brain, he would trade for fucking Binnington just to have him back up Swayman and nothing else. Just so they wouldn't have to fucking face him anymore. But Binnington, he's probably going to get traded this week. The Blues aren't stupid. Well, maybe they are, but strike while the iron's hot. Get rid of him. Get something for him. The tournament itself was fine, okay? I didn't, not enjoy it. I thought all the fucking nationalist bullshit was fucking stupid. You get that fucking douchebag like, oh, the governor of Canada. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, all right, it was funny the first time you said it, but then the next 17 times you said it, it's not funny. That's our closest ally for the last 200 plus years. And what you gonna do? You gonna flush it down the drain for what? Just to fucking get your uneducated base, give them a fucking hard on because you make fun of Canada. What? Ay, ay, ay. So it was fine. And here's the other thing too: the NHL is going to find a way to fucking ruin this the same way they've ruined the Winter Classic, which used to be a fucking spectacle, right? Now nobody fucking cares. Don't believe me? Look at the ratings. Garbage. And what are they doing next year? They're playing 2 games in Florida. Florida. Like, look, Tampa's won cups. The Panthers obviously won a cup. Great, happy for you. That's not a hockey market. And then you hear Gary Bettman talking about expansion again. New Orleans, Houston, and then the word Atlanta came out of his fucking stupid, short, bald little mouth. Atlanta. They've already had 2 teams that up and moved. Why? Because nobody fucking cared. Atlanta. Great town, not for hockey. Get fucked, Gary. All right? Speaking of get fucked, the Bruins need to sell off every asset they have. Last night they played Toronto. The first period and probably the second period, 2 of the best periods that team has played all season long. It should have been 3-0 going into the third with except there was a deflection off a leg and past Swayman. And then what they do? Of course they blew it. And I said to my wife, I'm like, they're gonna blow this game. Sure enough, 5-4 loss in overtime. Because that's what they do. Start over. Start over. You've got 3 guys that you really can't trade. McAvoy, Pasternak, Swayman. I don't want to see Marchand go. But what's the point of keeping him? The team is not good. Sweeney and Neely fucked this up last offseason by spending way too much money on 2 guys who didn't fucking need it. Elias Lindholm, that motherfucker could be the biggest bust in the league by a mile. He's got 14 goals, but they're paying him, they might be paying him close to Pasta, or if not more. I don't know. All I know is that they're paying him a shit ton of money. Fucking dump everybody. Every single pending free agent, see you later. Trade him. The backup goalie, trade him. Trade him. Probably can't because you gave him too much money too. When you fucking traded for him. Trade him. Because it ain't the player, right? But now your starting goalie, there's something wrong with the kid. Either he stopped listening to goalie Bob or he just isn't as good as he really is. Or was, I should say. Get rid of him. Trade everybody in the fucking team. Start again. Fire Don Sweeney. Get rid of Cam Neely. Start over. Start over. It's frustrating to watch. Endlessly frustrating to watch. But what do I know? What do I know? I didn't get a hard on over the 3 slap and tickle fights during the US-Canada game. So I'm not a real hockey fan. Did any of those punches actually land on a face? Dave Lapointe, fight expert. Yeah. Fucking Bruins. God. So fucking bad. Meanwhile, the Celtics are the best fucking team in basketball. They're playing Cleveland on Friday. And I'm looking forward to it because I hope they fucking wipe the floor with those bums. Cleveland beat Orlando last night by 40 points, and people are like, oh my god, the Cleveland Cavaliers, woo, Donovan Mitchell, woo. The Celtics, when they feel like it, could blow teams out by 40 every fucking night. I'm convinced of that. And the more I listen to Joe Mazzulla, the more I like the guy. I do think they repeat this year, and then I think they lose next year, and then win the following year. 3 out of 4, and then that'll do. That's what I think. I could be dead wrong. I've been wrong once or twice before. But the fact that, you know, this team has no visible weakness, right? And you can't even say, oh, well, they don't have a good bench. Well, they do. They have a fucking great bench. Like last night, they played Toronto, who stinks. The guy who was the starting center, I want to say his name is Tony Green. Don't ask me because I don't remember. But they just signed the fucking guy. The guy spent the majority of his career playing in Australia, in Israel, in I think Spain, and then has had cups of coffee with a few teams in the league over the course of the last 5 or 6 years. But he's an older guy in NBA parlance. He's in his early 30s. And he's the starting center last night. That's wild to me. Like you, here's the thing, right? If Derek White is playing well and involved, they're the best team in basketball. If he's not playing well and not as involved, they're still top 3 team in the league. But Derek White, he makes that whole fucking thing go. I'm convinced. Or maybe I'm just continuing my lifelong obsession with small Celtics guards. Fucking just have always liked them. And Derek White is another. Like, this kid is just... He's everywhere. He's omnipresent. Yeah, all right. Hold on. I'll be back. All right, it's time for football and football. That's right. Football and football. Get fired up. We're going to start with American football. And here's the note about the Super Bowl that I neglected to mention last episode. Tom Brady. The watch that Tom Brady was wearing was something called a Jacob & Co. Caviar Tourbillon, priced anywhere from $650 to $750,000. And he wore it nonchalantly uh, on the biggest telecast of the year. Let's average it out and call it a $700,000 watch. He wore a $700,000 watch. Not because he wanted to tell time, but because he wanted everyone to know that he was wearing a $700,000 watch. I saw it initially. I'm like, oh, that's probably a $40,000 watch. You foolish rube, David. 40,000. As if anything that costs 40,000 would ever grace the wrist of Tom Terrific, right? My tolerance of the uber wealthy has just decreased exponentially over the course of the last, I'd say, 5-6 years or so. And a move like that is so fucking I don't know, annoying, I guess. I don't know, it's probably more than that, but it's just don't. I got nothing. I can't do it because I don't want to. I just find it ridiculous that someone would wear a $700,000 watch on television. That's all. Yeah. The Combine is this week. I believe it starts today. The annual Underwear Olympics, as the great Rich Eisen has coined it. Or at least I think it was Rich Eisen. I don't know. I find I'm not one to sit and watch the Combine, mainly because I think it's a dog and pony show, and you'll always have the top guys refusing to work out. Like, to me, if you're gonna be in Indianapolis for this shit, you should be forced to throw a football. You should be forced to run. You should be. Because if you think it's safe enough to get on a plane, go to Indy and mill about the Lucas Oil Stadium, then throw some fucking shorts and a t-shirt on and throw the football. But, they're too good for that. So, fuck you. But the best part of it is always the guys that, you've never heard of. And it's usually the offensive linemen. Those are usually the not just offensive linemen, but both the interior line. So, like, the D line, the O line. Those are the guys that I always find to be the most interesting. There's a handful of really good stories that you'll hear about these kids at some point. But one of the kids that's going to be at the Combine is an offensive tackle, Charles Grant from William and Mary, a massive human being. Good story. But then there's a bunch of kids who weren't invited to the Combine for some stupid reason. Why anybody? Well, because then you'd have thousands of people there. Who fucking cares? Make it a week long. Fucking make it in 2 cities. What? There's no rules for this. You can have every draft eligible player show up, run, interview, fucking get a physical. You can have all that. They just choose not to. They choose to make a big deal out of it and call it invitations. You've been invited to the NFL Combine. Well, congratulations, son. You've been invited. Now get out there and Mike Mamula the fuck out of this so that you can get drafted in the top 10 and then stink. Cash out. Boy. It's an interesting event. It is. I don't really think teams learn much of anything other than official measurements and shit like that. But it's funny because they'll get all these official measurements, right? And then they'll have these kids come back to their own facilities and they'll do the same fucking thing as if it's going to change. And if it does change, well, where's the problem? Who mismeasured? Arm length is a big one this year with offensive linemen. And as I mentioned in the last show, Joe Tooney and his T-Rex arms playing tackle and got beat like a rented mule. The kid who's supposedly the number one offensive tackle, left tackle in the draft, Will Campbell, might also have T-Rex arms. And apparently that's going to dictate shit that he cannot control. Like, Will Campbell has no control over the length of his arms. You cannot Peter Brady the fuck out of that shit. It ain't happening. He has no control. And that is going to determine his athletic future. If he's the number 4 pick or the number 8 pick or the number 12 pick, it's all going to hinge on how long his arms are. Makes perfect sense, right? Fucking dumb. Speaking of offensive linemen, one of the best guards in the history of the NFL, and I do not say that lightly. Zach Martin from the Cowboys, he retired. Zach Martin out of Notre Dame spent, a reasonable amount of time with the Cowboys. But how many seasons did he play? Hold on, let's check the videotape. Hold on. Videotape or Pro Football Reference. He played 11 seasons. 11 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys on the right side of the center. So he played right guard for 11 seasons, 162 games. Now, when I say one of the best interior offensive linemen in the history of the game, that is statistically backed, right? He was a 9-time first team All-Pro, 9 times. The times that he wasn't, this past year, where he only played 10 games, and in 2020, where he only played 10 games. His rookie year, he was first team All-Pro. And he was second team All-Pro twice. Insanity. 162 games, roughly 11,000 snaps in his career. 11,000. How many sacks do you think he gave up? In 162 games, 11,000 snaps. 20. 20 sacks. 20. And aside from that, he had even fewer holding penalties called against him. This is what this one blows my mind. Again, 11,000 snaps in his career. He was flagged for holding 7 times. That's right, 7. 7 times. All 7 were on run plays. All 7. So in other words, he was the perfect pass protection every single pass play of his career. How fucking insane is that? Like, that is just, it's like the craziest fucking thing. 10,562 snaps. 7 holding calls. 8 false starts. 8. 3 of those came in one season. He had 21 total penalties in 162 games. I'm fairly certain Vidarian Lowe had 21 penalties just this year. That is fucking bananas. But he's a right guard, so he's not going to get the sort of you know the praise, if you will, right? But just to think about who and what, like he was the let's see, he was the fourth offensive lineman taken in the 2014 draft. Greg Robinson, Jake Matthews, Taylor Lewan, all decent players, all of them. That 2014 draft, that is stacked. Holy moly. That's banana land. Is it 2014? Yeah, 2014. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Unless you were a quarterback, in which case that first round wasn't that great. Blake Bortles at number 3. Johnny Manziel at 22. God, that's crazy. Yeah, what a draft. Clowney, Sammy Watkins, Khalil Mack, Mike Evans, Odell Beckham, C.J. Mosley, Brandon Cooks, Bradley Roby, Teddy Bridgewater, Clinton Dix. Clinton Dix. Yeah, but Jesus Christ. Like, just an unreal fucking player, Zach Martin. And I have zero problem saying that he was the best draft pick that Jerry Jones had to make on his own without input from anyone else. Because Zach Martin is slam dunk first ballot Hall of Fame by a country fucking mile. It's the sort of insight you're going to get here on Complaints and Observations. You're going to get 10 minutes of guard talk. Like, John Hannah is regularly considered the best guard of all time. Like, Zach Martin has to be right next to him. Easily. Right? Has to be. Crazy. The team is worse without him now, even though he missed 7 games last year. Still, not the point. More football. My West Ham United went out last week and beat Arsenal again. Away from home, 1-0. Great fucking win. Best game they've played all season. You're finally starting to see Graham Potter's vision for how he wants the team to play. They played like a, what they play, 5-3-2? 5-3-2. And it worked, surprisingly. I didn't really care for the formation. I thought that the guys that he had playing, the starters he had, sound, but I didn't care for the formation, and proved me wrong. They probably should have scored at least one more, if not 2. The previous regime brought in Aaron Wan-Bissaka from Man United, and quite frankly, that he very well could be the best signing of the year. At least top 5 best Premier League signings. That kid is fucking fantastic. Fantastic. Dominates the right side with the ball and without. He's terrific. An offensive-minded fullback with skill. Fascinating. They play Leicester tomorrow. They should win. Now, here's the thing. They have to win tomorrow because they've been doing this pattern where they, play well, maybe win or draw, and then lose. They have to win tomorrow. Tomorrow is probably the must-win game of the season. You go to Arsenal, who needed that game to stay in the title hunt. They needed to win that game, and they lost. And they lost because West Ham played well, not because Arsenal lost the match. That's not what happened. But tomorrow's game against Leicester is probably the biggest of the season, if you ask me, because you have to go out there and show a representative effort to match what you did against Arsenal. You have to. And if you don't, then we go back to what we've been all season, which is horribly mediocre. They have zero chance of being relegated at this point. They're like 10 or 11 points above the relegation zone. But uh, I don't want them to just survive and finish 15th, 16th, because that sucks. That's a waste of a season. You have the assets, you have the resources, you should be winning. You should be challenging, at the very least, top half. At the very least. What do I know? Just a dumb yank who chose a team, and chose a team foolishly, mind you. I could have easily picked a top 6 club, but no, I didn't. I made the fucking stupid mistake of picking a team that'll drive me insane for my entire life. Uh, MLS started this week, huh? MLS, kick it, or whatever the fucking old slogan was. MLS is 30 years old. 30, and it still mostly stinks. Honestly, I hope USL buries them. Like, they're going to do, hopefully, a top division. They're going to do promotion relegation with their 3 divisions, and change the way American soccer should be played, which is with the fear of relegation. But because the way sports work in this country, it's all about the owners. It has nothing to do with the game, has nothing to do with the teams. It's all about making the owners money. Money, 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 money. That's it. And because of that, MLS has been trash for 30 years. It's a trash outfit. I'm sorry, it's not good. What are the memorable moments in MLS, right? Think about it. It's Zlatan when he got to Galaxy his first game or second game, when he had 2 goals, like just fucking wonder fuck goals. Wayne Rooney when he was at DC, like his magical finish, long ball goal. Uh, Messi just being Messi. I'm sure there's more. However, those are the ones that stick out to what would be considered the average sort of passive MLS fan. Yeah, that's MLS. That's what they are. And you hear them called retirement league all the time. That's what they are. Here's the thing, right? If they just fucking leaned into that, they'd be fine. Lean into it. Say, hey, all you retired guys that aren't getting a sniff with the big clubs in Europe, come on over here, entertain Americans, get a little bit famous, make a few bucks. MLS, kick it. Yeah, 20 minutes of sports. I don't think I'm gonna do movie trailer reviews. I have 3, but I also have 3 voicemails. So I want to do the voicemails. There's a couple of music bits I want to talk about, and then I have 3 gripes. And I've already gone, damn near 40 minutes. Yeah. Oof, boy. All right, we'll be back. Oh, yeah, man. All right. So as I said, 3 voicemails. I'm going to take them in chronological order. Now, 3 different people. Old friend Mike. He is the first. I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe you do. Listen closely.
David, Michael here. Yeah, listen to that voicemail I left. That was definitely COVID brain fog. You know, it's terrible. The doctor's going to put me on some medication, and the stuff that he's talking about using is called naltrexone. So I looked up what it is, and it's actually what they give to people like recovering from opioid use, drugs, alcohol, to like numb the good feeling you get. Um, I don't know, looks terrible. I mean, I think I might just take the heroin and try that. Um, anyways, yeah, I don't know what I was talking about with the Simpsons. I think that was throwing it back to 1990s. If you had buffalo chicken dip. Um, but I appreciate your understanding. And I quite enjoy our asynchronous relationship here. I guess that's the word of the week. I have a really good story about Buffalo, the place, the one time I went. And I'm gonna do a different call. I don't wanna go crazy here. It's Friday, But hang in there, okay? I really hope you have a great weekend. I don't know what you do on the weekend with no kids. What is it you do? So that intrigues me. I think if I can complain, you say I don't complain enough. I think my big complaint is not having freedom. And then once I have freedom, I don't know what to do with myself. But you know what else really sucks? Is t-shirts. How much should a t-shirt cost off the top of your head? Boom, $15, maybe 20. I saw an ad the other day. This company, I'm not going to name it. I don't want to give advertising. The Shishi company out of Mass that makes kind of like higher end clothes for the surf hippie crowd. You'll probably figure out what it is. They had a sale on t-shirts, 3 for $100. So go anywhere though. A t-shirt's at $30, $40. I mean, I don't buy t-shirts anymore. So it's terrible. That's my big complaint. And beef jerky will never be the right price. But I'll call you about that Buffalo trip because you might appreciate that one.
I gotta say, I feel bad for Mike because this long COVID thing is probably really, really not good. And they're gonna put him on naltrexone? Ooh, that is fucking wild. He wasn't kidding when he said that that's a drug for like recovering addicts. That stuff is whoa. But for long COVID. Now, see, I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know what the benefit of naltrexone would be for long COVID. I don't know. Wow, that is wild. Yet he can still throw around words like asynchronous. I don't know why he would use that word there, but okay, it's a good word, so thank you. And then the stream of consciousness continued throughout the voicemail, like just random thought after random thought, which makes for a great call, by the way. What else did he talk? What do I do on the weekends with no kids? Not much. No kids or not, like if you're broke, you can't fucking do anything. You sit around. In my case, I watch too much sports. Yeah, I should probably get a job for the weekends so that I have something to do. So it's not really that much of a secret, Mike. I mean, when you have kids, you have too much to do. And as you mentioned, freedom being a big thing for you. Well, look, here's the thing. And I say this to all parents. And I say this kindly. But look, you made the fucking choice to have children. You should have known what you were getting yourselves into. And of course, yes, great, they're all wonderful. Things are just fucking terrific. But this generation is gonna fucking suck you dry in the wrong way and not be able to fucking do anything except live in your basement. I hope your kids are different. but good luck. And then he talks about t-shirts. I've had this weird sort of thing where I want to like design t-shirts. I have a page in my uh what do you call it? Google Keep. It's just notes of like t-shirt ideas. So I should just start designing t-shirts. I just don't know how to go about doing it. 3 t-shirts for $100 is fucking stupid. And anybody who is spending $100 on 3 t-shirts can honestly fuck right off. Now here's the thing, right? If you go to a show and you buy a t-shirt, it's going to be $40 in most cases. So, but he doesn't buy t-shirts anymore. Like, what are you wearing? Beef jerky. It's funny that he mentioned beef jerky because I saved an email, or saved a story, I should say, that was called "Why is beef jerky so expensive?" And I didn't get around to reading it. Finally, I love the big market tease where he's going to call in and talk about Buffalo. But I mean, this was like, we're going on about 12 days. And look, it's my fault because I didn't have a show last week to you know have a retort to this voicemail. But I welcome the follow up, Mike, about Buffalo. I like Buffalo, and I'm very much looking forward to going to Buffalo. It'll be a summer trip. Next.
Young David, friend of the show, Mark here. Long time, first time. I had another 6-hour drive ahead of me, so I listened to a bunch of episodes that you had, so you kept me company. First off, what happened with 174? I mean, you just skipped right over it. You were doing so well. You made it all the way from 1 to 173, and then 174 just kicks to the curb. So I want justice for 174. We need to have episode 174. I want to give a shout out to Mike, doing burpees. Very impressive. But I need to know more about these fortune cookies with Reese's. I'm sure it's a great combo. I just need to know how it started. Like, it had to be alcohol involved. How do you have half a fortune cookie and half a Reese's and think, hey, I got an idea. I'm going to shove this in my mouth. So we need more on that backstory. Complaint to all, this is a PSA to all your 5 listeners. Clear the fucking snow off your car. I just drove the Mass Pike down 84 through Connecticut into New Jersey. I can't tell you how many chunks of ice I saw fly off the car. Very dangerous. Got some observations. You made a comment about shows with butlers. Well, there was a show in the 80s, We Got It Made, with Terry Copley. Set the YouTube video to that. When you had Battle of Network Stars and with the 2 Heathers, Heather Locklear, Heather Thomas, with Terry Copley and Daisy Duke, you were in for a good show. And also, if any of your listeners call in from work, I want to know what happened with the toll woman, the woman that just jumped in behind you, skipping the toll, and you ended up working in the same building. So I think she should call in so that we could have get her story on what happened there. So that was it on my observations. Justice for 174. And also welcome to the Get Off My Lawn Club. Pretty soon you'll be turning down the radio to find an address, like I do. YWNA forever. I'll hang up and listen.
All of you know Mark. Mark is at the end of every single episode, and he has been for quite some time, where he says he is speechless. He is without speech. That's Mark from many moons ago. A lot here. There's a lot here. Nicely done. Thank you for calling, Mark. I appreciate it. And he's not kidding about the 6-hour drives. I mean, his job takes him all over the Northeast, and he just drives. Poor bastard has to, and then he chooses to listen to this shit. All right, I made it a point to take some notes. Now, episode 174. There won't be an episode 174. It's not happening, and you don't need to know why. Moving on. Burpees, yes. Shout out to Mike for burpees. Quite frankly, I find that foolish, but that's neither here nor there. I too would like to know how he came up with fortune cookies and Reese's. And I have a couple fortune cookies in the house, and I don't know if I have a Reese's in there. I think Jen bought like a couple of discounted Reese's Hearts because she keeps buying candy, even though I tell her not to buy candy because I am fat. My knees are starting to hurt too. Like, ugh, fucking hell. But yeah, I would like some backstory on that too. Like, when was the first time that happened? Like, were you drunk, Mike? Were you high? Like, how does that happen? I need to know, and now Mark needs to know. This almost feels like a real program where listeners are like listening to other listeners. That's fucking fascinating, huh? Wow. The PSA, clean off your car. That is fucking common sense. If you do not clean off the roof of your vehicle, you're a shit stain on society. All right, that is a fact. Shit stain on society. Cut the shit. Clean your fucking car. This is where I am. This was the most interesting part of his call, where he mentions a show called "We Got It Made," and I'm like, "What the fuck is this? We Got It Made? This does not ring a bell at all, at all." So I had to look into it. We Got It Made. Terry Copley, like the name sounds familiar, but this strikes me as a Bosom Buddies ripoff with a hot woman involved. Where you've got a woman in Terry Copley working as a maid for two bachelors in New York City. One of which was Matt McCoy. Matt McCoy, I'll have you know, legendary Seinfeld character, where he played fucking Lloyd Braun. He was Lloyd Braun. Matt McCoy. I expected Mark to know that, since he brought up fucking We Got It Made. I had to look up Terry Copley, right? Is Terry Copley alive? Yes. She's currently 63 years old. Not a bad looking woman. I mean, who the heck knows, she used to date Tony Danza? Tony Danza. And she dated John Stamos? What? Wow. How do I not know this person? Oh, I feel terrible now. Terry Copley. Oh, I think I figured out why I don't know this person. Well, she is now big into Jesus. And also injecting garbage into her lips. So, all right. Well, sorry, Mark, but yeah, Terry Copley, out. Out. Ugh. She left Hollywood. Wait a minute. She posed nude and was the cover girl for Playboy, November 1990. And then sometime in the 90s, she was saved and was born again and then left Hollywood. What a boring fucking story. Anyways, back to We Got It Made. So that's another show with maids or butlers. I welcome all. Wasn't wait a minute, hold on. There's no way. I don't think that's right. No. But what was her job? Okay. Fuck yeah. All right. Give me a break. Fucking Nell Carter was the housekeeper. Boy, oh boy. This is deep. Shows with butlers or maids or housekeepers in the 80s. What is that? Was that like a sign of opulence? Or like moderate opulence? Moderate opulence. That's crazy. Wow, Nell Carter died young. She was only 54. Oh, that's a shame. How'd she die? They don't know. Per her will, no autopsy was performed. And she had heart disease, basically. Oh, that's terrible. Wow, how about that? Anyways, Give Me a Break, that's another. We Got It Made, that's another. I'm sure there's more. I would love to know. So if you or anyone you know is aware of other shows in the 80s where the main character was a butler, a maid, or a housekeeper, please, please let me know. We got off track there because then he goes into Heather Locklear and Heather Thomas. Holy fucking hell. TJ Hooker, The Fall Guy. Great shows. And those Heathers were fantastic. Daisy Duke, of course, another winner. Battle of the Network Stars. Like that's something that like it should be done now, mainly because like network television shows are so bad, but they're all fucking cop shows. So you'd have just a bunch of people who played cops, doing track and field events. I don't know if that'd be fun. What else did he ask? Oh, the girl who fucking snuck behind me at South Station. So I saw her that day. I saw her like a couple of days later. I don't think I've seen her again. My guess is that she changed her hair entirely and changed her wardrobe entirely so that I wouldn't recognize her. That's my guess as to what happened because I don't know. But now I'm gonna have to go to the other side of the office and do like a inspection. I'll tell her to turn around. I can tell if it's her or not. uh, let's see what else. Again, yeah, no 174. You'll never know. And I've been turning down the radio to look for an address for years. I don't know what you're talking about, but you will never. You're not gonna sneak by the "You'll never walk alone" at the end of your call. You can fuck right off. Fuck right off. Mark and I and his uncle Keith and his brother Rob, we all went to Liverpool last year, year before, I don't know, whatever, to go to the uh, British Open. Fucking phenomenal trip, absolutely phenomenal. Could not have had a better time. And one of the things that we did is we went to Goodison Park where Everton play, and the people that we went to a bar called the Brick, and they were the most miserable fucking people. We also went to Anfield just to see it, but just and Mark became a Liverpool fan. In hindsight, we should have gone to Goodison Park first. Then he could have been an Everton fan as opposed to Liverpool. But we'll have to go back because Everton's getting a new building next year, which apparently is very nice. So, but yeah, You'll never walk alone. You got a lot of fucking nerve, pal. Let me tell you.
Hello, Dave. Hal Jordan. Look, you had an appreciation episode just before your unauthorized hiatus. It was one of the most heartfelt, passionate hours I've had the pleasure of listening to. Yes, it gave me a foreboding feeling of your imminent departure from my weekly playlist, but it left a lasting impression. What else left a lasting impression? Per your usual request, I did leave an appreciation voicemail after that. I spent time formulating my thoughts to somewhat help keep the train on the tracks. My appreciation was all for Complaints Pod. And I went into the weeds citing specific examples of what I truly appreciated about you and the pod. The next week, you hyped a great voicemail. It was not mine. And the voicemail you played, totally overrated. The remaining weeks before the aforementioned unauthorized hiatus complaints took, each time you said you had a voicemail to play. My hopes, like when I was 6, getting my hopes up that my dad would come back, and just like in 1975, nothing but abandonment issues and less than stellar calls played instead. So, each episode, since your triumphant return, you ask for calls. And the internal struggle it ignites as to very much wanting to be some tiny part of my favorite podcast, but also remembering Dad never came back and died 15 years ago, making his return very unlikely. So I am glad you're back, thus leaving my phone call. I will depart on the words, go Hammers. Oh, and also, Dave, please don't forget
The triumphant return of Hal Jordan. Thank you so much. Now I feel like a prick. Because quite frankly, while I do remember the gratitude episode quite well, I don't remember the voicemail. Now I'm gonna have to go and find it. I wonder if it's this one. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's it. But hey, it very well could be. I'll have to dig around. And look, it was certainly not my intent to ignore your voicemail because I enjoy your calls. I enjoy your program. He is the one half of Carnival Personnel Podcast. You should check it out. He's also a stand-up comedian, Hal Jordan, and moonlights as the Green Lantern. So you should check it out. But look, certainly not my intention, and now I feel like an asshole. So all you've done with this voicemail is make me feel horrible. Are you happy? Is that what you were hoping for? I don't think so. But like, what are you doing talking about your dad abandoning you? Jesus Christ. That's fucking funny. I mean, it's not funny that he left, but it's funny that you brought it up. But yeah, now I'm gonna have to go and find it, and I'm gonna have to play it. That's if it's even here. Maybe you left a voicemail in your own mind. That's entirely possible. But look, all the other plaudits that you lavished upon me there are just foolish. Saying that this is your favorite podcast, that says very little about you, and I've mentioned that to you in the past. It says very little about you, but that's neither here nor there. It's very much appreciated. Don't get me wrong, and I always tell your friends, but then you tell me that you don't have any friends. So I do know that you're you do run in some interesting circles, and so feel free to tell them. And it's funny because I keep saying, well, I'd like to have guests on the show, and like Hal has guests on his show all the time, and they're usually pretty good. Usually, sometimes but usually pretty good. I don't know if I. Here's the other thing too. If I take guests again, right? if I start doing guests and interviews, like I don't think I'm bad at it, okay? But it feels like if I don't do enough like homework on the guest or if I don't do enough research on the guest, I feel like such a fucking asshole and a phony. Like when I have these people on and ask them questions that I've researched 5 minutes beforehand. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I just don't. I don't know. I don't like that. It feels a little disingenuous. I just don't have the fucking time. It's awful. Oh, but you don't have kids, Dave. Yeah, no shit. But you know what? I'm lazy and I'm slow, and I have a job that takes up way too much fucking time. Ugh. But I love the call, man. And honestly, your enthusiasm is weird, and I love it. And I can't thank you enough. Honestly, it's great. It's appreciated. So feel free to call in again. Feel free to call in with, you know, anything that's on your mind. And also feel free to continue to support West Ham United because we need more good fans like yourself and not like those phony Liverpool fans that will call in as well. Yeah, but I'm going to find that voicemail, or at least I'm going to try. All right, so I said that I had a couple of like music notes. Music notes. One, Machine Head's putting out a new album coming in April. Very, very excited. Looking forward to that. We're going to see them, I think, in May-ish, I think. Um, I think. I can double check. Anyways, uh, the first single, which I think is the title track, I can't remember, Unbound, very, very good. I like it a lot. However, it seems to be missing something, Mark, and I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. And please correct me if I'm wrong there, but it feels like something is off. Like is Rob just now too old? I don't know. Feels like something's off. And I hope I'm wrong with the rest of the record because it doesn't take away from the fact that I like it. I do like the song. It's just there was a couple of parts in there that I don't know. I guess I was expecting something that didn't come. Weird, right? I don't know, but it could just be me. The other is on the Instagram the other day, I was alerted of a local band. So a little Boston music tidbit for you. Um, for some, they're called alt country, and I don't find that genre to be at all accurate, but that's just me. It sounds more like an alt folk band, kind of. I enjoy it. The name of the band is Other Brother Daryl, which is just a fucking dynamite name. And they're local to the Boston area. Check them out, Other Brother Daryl. So I've been listening to them for the last couple days. They don't have a ton of music, a handful of singles and like three. I think they got 3 EPs or maybe 2 EPs and a couple singles. It's not bad. I enjoy it. Other Brother Daryl. It's just a fucking dynamite name, so there's that. All right, that's it for music news. I was gonna talk about food, but then I couldn't really think of anything to think about. I think I'm gonna try smoking some meats here and sometime in the next couple of weeks. Once things start to melt, I'm gonna get back into smoking. I think because now aside from Mike, I have I have a coworker who apparently smokes like constantly, and he was really taken aback when I said I had an electric smoker. It's like, look, it's an introductory device, okay? Like I want to actually figure out how or what I'm going to smoke before I invest in something more. So that's what I have. That's what I'm going to use, and I think sometime here in the next couple of weeks I'm going to smoke something. So Stay tuned. And once the weather is better, we're going to fire up the fucking flat top. I'm very excited to get cranking on that thing again. I'm going to do so much more on that this season. I am confident in that. Now I'm hungry. Anyways, on to 3 gripes. I have 3 horribly petty gripes. Gripe number 1, people who talk to you when you're wearing earbuds. I own a pair of Google Buds, right? Um, I'm all in on Google, mainly because, look, if there's one company, I just want to keep the amount of big tech companies that know everything about me to a minimum. So I've chosen to ride with Google. And it's not because they're great. Um, but look, they already know enough, probably more than they want to know. None of it important, some of it probably disgusting. Google Buds. Anyways, so they're charcoal gray. So when they're in my ear, anybody who's looking at my face should be able to see the gray protrusions coming out of my ears, which always makes me wonder. Like when somebody talks to you when you have those in, are those people constantly interacting with folks that have like black or dark gray shit coming out of their ears? What the fuck? What is that? And I'll be like, jamming, bopping to some tunes. And it's usually at my desk. And then next thing you know, someone sidles up next to me and starts saying something. I can see their mouth moving, but I'm listening to the new Machine Head song. So I can't hear what they're saying. So then I gotta fucking fumble around to either to pause the music, pull out the earbud, and then they're like, "Oh, sorry." What do you mean, "Oh, sorry"? What the fuck do you think these are in here for? And then they have the nerve to look at my phone to see what I'm listening to. Oh, what's that? Never fucking mind. What are you doing here? What the fuck do you want? Oh, how was your weekend? Fuck you! Fuck you! Tammy, fuck off. Pay attention. Gripe number 2, people who are constantly wearing earbuds, or more specifically, airbuds. It's almost as if these fucking morons feel the need to advertise the fact that they've overpaid for their device here, right? So they constantly keep them in their fucking ear all fucking day. And it's, 8 times out of 10, it's kids in their early 20s. That generation is so fucked. How are they gonna live? They're gonna be deaf, unable to actually write or even print, zero social skills, because they have these fucking things in their ear all day long, listening to God knows what. What is it that they listen to? It's probably shit music first and foremost, or it's a dumb podcast, or they're listening to some fucking asshole play a video game on YouTube while they're not even watching YouTube, which is, from what I've been told, happens. And then you have the people that are fucking wearing them while they're driving. It's probably illegal, because I know old school headphones were back in the day. Your boy got pulled over one time for having that. But you probably have speakers in your fucking car. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Other than being a menace to other people, because you're not paying attention at all. Take them out of your ears and shove them up your ass. Gripe number 3, subway cars. Every single train car in the city of Boston smells like shit, piss, or puke. Every one of them. Doesn't matter when you get on, doesn't matter where you get on. Every single car that falls under the MBTA umbrella smells like shit, piss, or puke. I would love to get on one time and have it smell clean. I've been on the first train of the day, and it still stinks. So it makes me wonder how much actual cleaning is going on here. It can't be much, right? I'd love to be there. I'd love to be a fly on the wall during the overnight cleaning of the trains. I mean, they probably have a hose. They probably have like a fucking well, no, they probably don't have a power washer, is my guess. Because then maybe they'd be slightly clean. At least once a week they should undergo deep cleaning. I'm talking power wash, I'm talking steam, I'm talking soap, I'm talking bleach. Fucking clean them so they don't smell like shit. And like, look, no offense to the homeless people that sleep in them. No offense. Like, you need a place to sleep, fine, whatever. Do your thing. But at the end of the night, the cleaning people need to actually fucking clean them. But do I and the MBTA have an entirely different opinion on what clean is or what cleaning is? Clearly. That's it. I'm all done. Long show. I'm sorry. I'm on Instagram at ComplainsPod. I'm at Facebook at ComplainsPod, but fuck Facebook. You can call into the show 617-804-1557. Call in. Leave a voicemail. What's on your mind? And then listen, tell your fucking friends, okay? Or just tell random strangers about the show. Say, hey, you look like you have something on your mind. Here's a show you should listen to. Or hey, you look like you're moderately intelligent. Here's a show you should listen to. Or hey, you look like someone who's fed up with the status quo. Here's a show you should listen to. Yeah, that's accurate. Call in 617-804-1557. Tell your friends, tell your mom's friends. And then it's funny. I say this at the end of every single episode, which is, take care of yourself, take care of each other. That's no bullshit, right? I am a nobody, a huge fucking fat nobody. I am a nobody. But I mean it when I say that. I want you to be good. I want everyone else to be good. I just want I'm not looking for a utopia here. I'm looking for all of us to be treated the same and to be left the fuck alone. That's what I'm looking for. We're never going to get there, right? It's a fucking shame. So seriously, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and Godspeed. Ta-ta.